Hello friends, acquaintances, and enemies of all ages, my name is Combat Bird, and we're back today with an episode of Let's Get Physical. This time, we're going to be taking a look at Guts and Glory, made by Hackjack Games. Hackjack is a solo game developer who ran a Kickstarter campaign to get this baby off the ground, and he succeeded, raising just over $34,000. Now, first things first, let's address the elephant in the room. This game is very clearly inspired by the hugely successful Happy Wheels. But make no mistake, this game is not Happy Wheels, and I think it has the potential to be so much more than that game ever could be. I say it has the potential because the game is still in early access, but Hackjack is constantly adding new content to the game, and even has the 1.0 update coming out this spring, which could be one of the biggest updates yet. Alright, I'm getting a little ahead of myself. What is Guts and Glory? Well, the way it's best described is a survival racing experience, where you simply need to get from point A to point B as fast as you can while avoiding the various hazards of the game. You have anything from landmines that will obliterate you and your vehicle in an instant, to saw blades, which you have to narrowly avoid if you don't want to be cut in half. This is really what the game comes down to. There's an emphasis on survival and less on racing, which was definitely the right route for the game to go. This allows players like myself to focus on beating a level so that I can move on, while allowing more competitive players to compete for the fastest time on a level. Now, I should mention, there is technically a story to this game, believe it or not, and in my opinion, to experience the levels correctly, you should always try to complete them with the correct character for your first time through. For example, one of our options for characters are the Yangs, a small family who are looking to go on their long-awaited road trip. This includes drifting around roads in the mountains, finding places to park, and going to their favorite theme park. But there's another character known as Junior, who rides around on a hoverboard. Junior is much easier to control, and while it may take some time to get used to him, he certainly makes these levels easier. I want to mention, of course, you don't have to do it this way. This is just how I found the levels to be the most enjoyable. Speaking of characters, let's take a look at our current options, because there are actually quite a few. We've got John and Jimmy, Earl, the Yang family, Jack and Jill, Zoe, Pedro, Junior, and of course, we can't forget, Larry. All of these characters are enjoyable to play in some way, and even feel like they have personality. And while some of them are similar, they all control a bit differently and give a huge amount of variety in the ways that you can complete a level. Especially Larry. Larry is my favorite character, and he has a pretty steep learning curve, but once you've mastered him, you can do levels ridiculously fast. The music in this game is also fantastic, and can really influence how a level feels. With the simple addition of some high-quality epic music, I no longer feel like a redneck who just wants to break barrels, but now I feel like a redneck who wants to break barrels while wearing a cape. America. Speaking of wearing a cape, did I mention that there are hats? It's such a simple thing, but I love when developers put in a little customization like this. Now let's get into what brings the long-lasting appeal of Guts and Glory. Once you've completed all the default levels, normally a game like this will have run its course. But no, the community for this game is fantastic. And there are so many new levels being added all the time. Some made to challenge your skills, and others made for a good laugh. All of them are great, and you'll never run out if you want to keep going. And if there is a level you want, but it doesn't exist yet, you can just make it yourself. There's a very easy to use level editor available in-game. It has a simple, understandable interface, but also has very few limits, so you can really let your imagination run wild. Since the game is in early access, there are a decent amount of bugs in the game, as well as some general things that need to be polished. I wanted to mention these first so you get a chance to see them, but also as a potential list for Hackjack if he wanted some constructive criticism. Firstly, and this was honestly where most of my complaints came from, the menu and selection screen have some small issues that add up pretty quickly. After you've succeeded in a level, your options show up here. By looking at this alone, which of these options do you think is currently highlighted? What's that? You're not sure which because none of them are highlighted? Correct! Actually, next track is currently highlighted, but it doesn't show your selection. Okay, so let's do next track then. Now, being the silly gamer I am, I usually spam buttons. No idea why, but I do it. So to get to the next level, I'm just hitting A as fast as I can for no other reason than habit. But then this shows up. Whoa there, you should complete this level before moving on to the next one. Okay. I didn't even know you could move on without completing a level, but apparently you can skip them. I assume what's happening here is the game is reading my next level command as the next level loads in, so it thinks I'm trying to press the button before beating it, but that really shouldn't be a problem, right? There are a lot of little bugs like this that I found while going through the menus. And the second big thing I wanted to mention was the inconsistency on what will kill you. This one is probably harder to fix than you'd expect, so I don't really blame Hackjack at all for it, but it is something that I hope gets improved as the game continues to develop. For example, here, I gently run into a wall and I die because of it. But here we are in the theme park getting smashed on the head with a hammer, and Mr. Yang will simply drive it off like it never happened. Now, if you can get past these small flaws, Guts and Glory is totally worth the current $10 price tag on Steam, and I will link to it in the description below, of course. The potential this game has with future characters, levels, game modes, and mods in general is more than enough to have me excited to see where it goes. Now go have yourself a fantastic time messing with the physics in this game. I will have a new Year of Kirby video out next week, so be ready for that, and as always, have a wonderful rest of your day.